Good afternoon, class. How are you? Have your seat. Okay, I think in our previous lesson, we concluded the reproductive system, whereby we have looked at the parts of the female reproductive system and also the part of the male reproductive system. But in our today's lesson, we are about to start a new topic that is called environment. A new topic that is called what? Environment. Under environment, we will be looking at our today's substrand, which is water conservation. Which is water conservation. Therefore, let me ask you first, what do we mean by water conservation? What do we mean by water conservation? Or what do we mean by to conserve water? To conserve water. To conserve water means to use water without wasting it. Without wasting water. You are needed to use water, but just use it for your limit without wasting it. Without wasting it. It also means, or it also involves taking good care of water sources to ensure that there is enough water for use throughout. Through what? Throughout. Because if we are wasting water, we will not going to able to get enough water for us to use throughout. But for you to be able to use water throughout, for us to not find ourselves in a situation whereby we will going to not get water to use, we are needed to use water at our limit. We are needed to use water what? We needed to use water the way water are required to be used. Therefore, how are you going to make sure that you conserve water? Or how are you going to make sure that you will going to use water without wasting it? Without wasting it. We are needed to use water, or we are needed to use water without wasting it by using what? Water without wasting it. Sources of water also, we are needed to do what? Take care of the sources of water, which includes streams. Why? Because we are getting water from the streams. We are getting water from the streams. Therefore, we are needed to take good care of the streams, so that we will not going to unable to find water from the streams. We get water from rivers. We get water from rivers. We are needed to take good care of rivers. To what? Good care of rivers, so that we will going to get what? Enough water for use throughout. And also lake is another source of water. We are needed to take good care of also lakes. When you heard about lakes, streams, and rivers, just make sure know that these are what? These are sources of water. Sources of water means these are places where we get water from. Where we get water from. Therefore, now that we have now understood what do we mean by water conservation. Water conservation. Now ask yourself, how are we going to conserve water? How are we going to make sure that we are going to take good care of the sources of water? How are you going to make sure that you will going to use enough water by not wasting it? Are we together? Enough water and you are not wasting it? You are not wasting it. How? Therefore, here we are having our substrand here, ways of conserving water. Now that you have been told do not use water while you are wasting it. You see? Now that you have been told that water is very important and we are needed to use them at its limit. Now you have been also given ways of conserving water. If they have given you the full meaning and now you have understood the water conservation, you must be again asking yourself, what way or how will I going to take good care of water? Or how will I going to what? How will I going to use water without wasting it? This is how you will going to use water without wasting it. Ways of conserving water. The first way of conserving water, listen, there are 6 ways of conserving water. There are how many ways of conserving water? There are 6 ways of conserving water. Are we together? By following strictly and doing and following all these ways, the 6 ways of conserving water, then we will going to be able to conserve water in our environment. We will going to be able to conserve water in our environment. Are we together? What are these 6 ways of conserving water? The first way of conserving water is by reusing water. Reusing. Can you say reusing? Reusing. Reusing is the first way of conserving water. The other way of conserving water is reducing the use of water. Reducing the use of water. The other way is recycling, harvesting rainwater, mulching, construction of dams. These are 6 ways of conserving water that we have. These are 6 ways of conserving water that we have. Are we together? Among these 6 ways of conserving water, let us start with the first way of conserving water, and let us look at what do we mean by now. For example, here the first way of reusing, the first way of conserving water, we say this is reusing. We are now starting with the first way of what we want to call conserving water, which is reusing. Okay, what do we mean by reusing? What do we mean by reusing? And how are we going to reuse water? And how are we going to reuse water? Are we together? Yeah. Before now, you go to ask yourself how you will going to reuse water. First of all, understand the meaning of what? Understand the meaning of reusing. Understand the meaning of reusing. Are we together? What is reusing? What is reusing? Reusing means using again water that has already been used. Using again water that has already been used. Are we together? But for our case, we always use water, but we have never used water. That means we have never used water that we have already used. That we have already used. How will you going to do that? Reusing water means using water that you have already used again. Therefore, you might be wondering how will you going to use the water that you have already used, because the water you have already used the water. How will you going to use the water again? How are you going to use the water again? These are ways of reusing water, or these are ways in which you will going to reuse water. The water that has been used again. The water that has been used again. Number 1, the first way of reusing water is water used for washing clothes can be used again. How does water that you have already used to wash clothes can be used again? Can be used again. You can use it again for cleaning houses. You can use the water again for cleaning latrines. You can use water again for cleaning toilets. Are we together? Am I communicating? Are you getting what I'm saying? What have I said? The first way of reusing water is by doing what? The water that you have used to wash clothes. The water that you have used for to what? To wash clothes. You can also able to use it again. You can also able to use it again. By doing what? How will you going to use it again? How will you going to use it? You can use the water that you have used to wash clothes to clean latrines. Instead of taking another water and then use it to clean latrines, instead of going and finding for a water again, clean water, to go and clean them with the houses, instead of you going to find for a clean water again to go and clean it with what? With the toilet, you are needed to reuse the water that you have already used to wash clothes, so that you will go into work on all this washing clothes, what we call cleaning latrines, cleaning houses, and also cleaning toilet. Are we together? From today now, if you have used water for cleaning clothes, for washing clothes, do not go and waste that water. Are we together? Use the water again. How will you going to use the water again? How? You go and use it to clean latrines, you go and use it to clean houses, and you go and use it to clean toilets. Okay? The second way of not conserving water, but the second way of reusing water is what? Water used for cleaning fruit and vegetables can be used again for watering crops on the farm. You see? Yes. Instead of you going and find for a clean water, so that you will go into what? So that you will go into water your crops on your farms, you better use the water that you have already used for cleaning fruit. You see? Yeah. When you go to town and find for yourself some fruit from the town, it is must that you will going to use water to clean the fruit before using it, or before consuming the fruit. Are we together? Now that water, do not going to waste that water. Are we together? Because the water has the second use. Has the second use. Are we together? The second use is what? To use them to what we call to water crops on the farm, water crops and vegetables on the farm. Are we together? Yeah. So therefore, there is no need for you to go and find for clean water every now and then. You see, every now and then to go and crop vegetables and to go and water vegetables and crops on the farm. Are we together? Yeah. What we are needed to do is first of the water that you have used to clean fruit, keep it. Are we together? You keep it. Then after keeping it, you go and do what? You go and water your crops and your vegetables on your farm. Are we together? Then the third way of reusing water, the third way of using water again is by water used for washing clothes can be sprinkled on earthen floors to reduce the dust. To reduce what? The dust. Are we together? Again, the water that you have used for washing clothes, it has also another work. It has also another work. What is that work? You can use them and sprinkle them on earthen floors. And what do we mean by earthen floors? You might be not understanding what do we mean by the earthen floor. Earthen floors. Yeah? This is what we will going to do. Earthen floors is a floor like this. A floor that there is no what? There is no cement on it that has not been decorated. Are we together? It is called earthen floors. Therefore, for you to make sure that you will going to reduce dust on earthen floors, use the water that you have already used to close what we call to wash clothes and sprinkle them on the earthen floor, so that the dust will going to be reduced. Dust will going to be reduced. Are we together? The last way of conserving water here is water used for washing hands can be used to mop floors. To mop what? To mop floors. Are we together? Yeah. To mop floors. Floors are needed to be mopped with the water that you have already used. For example, for doing something else, for washing hands. For example, when people are going to eat, they must first of all go and wash their hands. Are we together? That water that you have used to wash your hands, make sure that it will not go waste. Make sure that it will not go what? It will not go away. It will not going to go waste. Why? Because it has another work. Because it has what? It has another work. And the work is what? To mop floors. Therefore, do not always go and find for clean water so that you will going to mop the floor of your house. Why? Because the water that you have already used for something else, you can keep it and then again use it. Are we there? For the work of mopping floors. Therefore, now that we have understood what do we mean by water conservation, and now that we have understood the meaning of water conservation, and also ways of conserving water, and also ways of reusing water. Before I now end the lesson, let me first of all now ask you some questions on the thing that we have learned, so that we will go into what? So that we will go into see if we have understood the content correctly. Are we together? Yeah. Number one, we have talked about water conservation. What is water conservation, or what do we mean by to conserve water? What do you mean by to conserve water? Yes, Zakaria. What do you mean by to conserve water? You can stand up and give us your answer. What do you mean by to conserve water? Very good. Zakaria said to conserve water means to use water without wasting it. Are we together? And that is what we mean by now conserving water. And that's what we mean by conserving. We are using water without wasting it. Okay. The second question. I want you to give me 6 ways of conserving water. 6 ways of conserving. Remember, we have highlighted 6 ways of conserving water, and we have also talked about one way. The other way of conserving water, the second way, we will going to talk about in the next lesson. But before that, I want somebody to tell me the sixth way of conserving water. One way, the first way of conserving water is what? Yes, Zakaria? Reusing. Very good. Second way of conserving water? Yes, Abdul Nasir? Yes, recycling. Very good. The third way of conserving water? Yes, Imran? Yes? But mulching. Very good. Mulching. The fourth way of conserving water? Yes, Abdul? Harvesting rainwater. Very good. The fifth way of conserving water? Yes? Reducing the use of water. Very good. Very good. Nice. The last way of conserving water, yes, Omar? Construction of dams. Are we together? But now, all those ways of conserving water that we have mentioned, we will going to talk on them with time. Are we together? But we have started with the first way, which is reusing. What is reusing? What is reusing? What is reusing? What is reusing? Yes, Zakaria? Very good. Reusing means using water that has already been used. We reuse water that we have already used for the second time. For the second what? For the second time. Okay. We talked about also again 4 ways of reusing water. 4 ways of reusing water. Are we together? Yeah. What is the first way of reusing water? What is the first way of reusing water? The first way of reusing water. Who can try the first way of reusing water? Yes? Very good. He said water that we have already used to wash clothes. To wash what? To wash clothes can be used again to clean latrines, to clean houses, and to clean toilet. Very good. The second way of reusing water. The second way of reusing water is Brahman. Very good. He said water that has been already used to clean fruits. To clean what? Fruit can be again reused to what? To what? To do what? To water crops and vegetables on our farms. Crops and vegetables on our farms. Very good. The third way of reusing water. The third way of reusing water. The third way of reusing water is good. Third way. Very good. He said water that we have used already to wash clothes can be used again to sprinkle over on Athene floors. To sprinkle on Athene floors. Very good. Lastly, the last way of now reusing water. The last way of reusing water is Abdul Malik. The last way of reusing water. Very good. He said water that we have already used to wash clothes can be again used to do what? To mop floor, to mop floors. Are we together? Yeah. That is now the end of our lesson for today. But in our next lesson, we will going to start on reducing the use of water. And we will going to look at the meaning of reducing the use of water. And in the same case we have used at the reusing, we will also going to look at ways of reducing the use of water. Okay. With that, have a nice day.